Hello. So today I'd like to talk to you about the coast and our relationship with coastal areas that we visit as tourists. So yes, this means soft sandy beaches and scenic jagged cliffs and the escape from our daily lives that coasts often represent to us. But there's a problem here, right? If we're going to these places to escape from our daily lives, to take a break from our responsibilities, and we're going not long enough to experience the consequences of our actions, and the dynamic that we have is one where we're tourists who are consumers and the places that we're visiting are the products that we're consuming, we're not exactly set up well to create a positive impact, to put it diplomatically. But we could make a positive impact, and we could do it fairly effortlessly. This message today isn't one of fault, and lecturing about responsibility is probably not going to work, given that when we vacation, we're taking a break from our responsibilities, right? So instead, I propose that we just tweak our perspective a bit, and we just think about ourselves as visitors when we go to these places, and start to think about ways that we can participate in something that I like to call smart tourism. Tourism is defined as the act of traveling for recreation, and tourism as an industry has become a big part of the global economy. According to the WTO, tourism now accounts for 10% of the global GDP and 1 in 11 jobs. That's a lot, right? So smart tourism is this idea that tourism can support economic growth and environmental conservation, that it can encourage locals and tourists to communicate and interact, to develop empathy and cultural understanding, and even support coastal communities' resilience to sudden or unexpected challenges. So I'd like to note that there's already a lot of really smart people all over the world working towards these goals. But there's a big potential impact that we can make as individuals when we are the tourists. So how do we do this? The first thing we need to do is recognize that when we travel to new places, we are visitors, right? And then we can ask ourselves this question of, if I'm the visitor, then who's the host? And the answer is quite obviously, hopefully, is the spaces that we're visiting and the people, plants, and animals that call it home. And this is an important mindset to have, right? It encourages us to respect where we go. And it's also, I think, a lot easier to understand the dynamic, the relationship between a visitor and a host, much more than we can understand the relationship between a tourist and a place. So now I'm going to give you 3 easy ways to be a better visitor and participate in smart tourism. So the first thing that you can do is respect the locals. Not like this photo. Do not do this photo. Don't be a stalker, right? So I'm sure we can all agree that when we are in new environments, or really at any time, we do not appreciate being stalked or harassed by the wildlife, right? And we certainly don't enjoy being stereotyped by other people. So give the wildlife their space, and when you travel to new places, see people as people. The second thing that you can do is use reusables. Don't be a garbage monster. Use a reusable cup, a reusable straw. Eat in at the restaurant. I know it doesn't always feel practical or convenient to do this, right? To avoid using single-use items. But you know that there's times when it's completely effortless to do this, to avoid that flimsy plastic cup, that plastic straw, that styrofoam or polystyrene to-go box. Think about ways and start to be more aware of opportunities to reduce the waste you leave behind in these coastal communities. The third thing that you can do is target your money. Use your consumer power. look for businesses that are already contributing and supporting their local community and the local environment. Businesses want to sell what you want to buy, right? So tell these businesses that you appreciate their efforts. For souvenirs, look for local crafts rather than imported manufactured items. For excursions or day trips, buy directly from the company that is operating that activity. You're probably going to get a better deal, and more of that money is going to go to that community. So watch where your money goes. Does it go into the community that you're visiting, or does it go somewhere else? You've learned, hopefully, a little bit about smart tourism and have a few ways, easy ways, to participate. So hopefully, on your next trip, you start to think of yourselves as visitors and see the people, places, and natural world around you that you visit as gracious hosts rather than products for you to consume. So thank you so much for listening, and happy exploring.